Hello everyone, Tony again here from the first 10 minutes. Let's play some more of the ironic adventures of Blonq the Unkillable. Alrighty, so we'd gotten our character all set up, we'd grabbed a bunch of quests, we'd ummed and ahed over stats and various other things in the first part of this Let's Play. Now we're heading north to Red Rock to begin one of these quests. We're going to press the minus key, we're going to zoom out to the map to remind ourselves again of where we're travelling, semicolon for look mode, and two of these world map squares to the north is Red Rock that we're heading towards. Now, being a roguelike, it is entirely possible that that a normal character could easily in an early stage meet their demise, but Blonq the Unkillable is totally going to live up to their name, so I'm sure everything is going to be just fine. Now you'll notice as we move backwards and forwards, whoops, I skipped over that, but I know what it said. The glow that the cat Testifus gave us has expired. As we move backwards and forwards, the UI will shift from one side of the screen to another. So each world map is a fixed border, and you can only see about 2/3 of it at any given time. When we move off into a new area of the map, we find a new zone. Now, seeing as we're not in the outskirts of Joppa anymore, we're in a rusty watervine marsh under a waxing salt sun. You'll notice that line of sight is a thing in this game. So maneuvering around and between grass means that visibility can be cut off, and of course we're going to want to move cautiously so that we don't accidentally blunder into something like, say, this crocodile up here. Although this time around, crocodiles are neutral towards my character. That is not always the case. Its hoary cracked scales look like marked stone. It's equipped with a bite. We also have giant dragonflies, which are also neutral to us. And then over here you can see a kudzu. This plant is a densely twisted mat of metallic fibers and long, billowing red fronds, which wave gently towards you on an unfelt breeze. Kudzu can rust items, so it's a wise idea to not move near them. They can't move around themselves, but if you move into an adjacent square, it is possible to lose gear. So we'll do whatever we can to avoid that. Some other things that we'll be looking for as we move around are potential trees to harvest food from. So I'm definitely going to be looking for star apple trees. And it will be easy to just point one out if we do happen to see one. What's that crocodile fighting? The croc is now bloody and bleeding, and the water around it is now bloody water. Anyway, let's see if there are any star apple trees around here, because it's always nice to bank up on food as much as possible. I've had characters previously that have been going along quite swimmingly, but starved to death in the wilderness. That's a lot of water. So as I said in a previous Let's Play, with games being built off a world seed, all of these maps, each time we play, are subtly different. Because the world map, however, is of this fixed layout every time, the game can strike a very interesting balance between sort of prescribed scripted content and locations, and then variable locations. It looks like the crocodiles and the glowfish are fighting each other. It can be curious, pardon me, it can be curious to see some of the battles that occur between different creature types and different factions. Can we find any food trees? Or in fact any hostile enemies? Sometimes there can be boars running around, sometimes two-headed boars. There are horses, there are goats, there are tortoises. Tortoises usually attack you. There are also puma, which are never good news. And if we see one of them, we're definitely going to run away as fast as we can. Alright, we can see some critters on the screen here. A feral dog, which is friendly to us. A glow crow, which is neutral. Up here we have a boar, which is hostile. This ill-tempered, bristled pig struts about on stubby legs. There's also an irritable tortoise, a squat reptile with a massive shell. The tortoise glares at you fearlessly. And if I recall correctly, I'm sure that I saw a star apple tree. There's an auto snap that happens on look that can be quite frustrating, but there is a star apple tree just over here. Let's see if we can move to it without anything attacking us straight away. Looks like there is a horned chameleon, neutral, that they can sometimes attack you. And I'm pretty sure I saw a salamander as well. That can be a bit of a flip of the coin as to whether or not they're hostile too. I can see 2 star apple trees. Here's one just next to us. Oh, thank heavens. I thought the Equimaxes were hostile towards me. They're very bad news in the early stages. I have been stomped to death by them before. It's not what I want. Alright, right next to us now is a star apple tree. So I am going to hit A to open up my abilities. Then I'm going to press the spacebar to activate harvest. I'm going to select the direction and I'm going to get 10 star apples, which is great. They will serve us well in terms of food to eat. But I can't just go harvesting willy-nilly because I now have there's a 200 round cooldown on that particular ability. So as I move backwards and forwards, you'll see that that is counting down. I also don't know how long it takes for these things to regrow, but I imagine it could be a little while. And I've also spotted a salt hopper. Albino legs thrust its turgid thorax through the air. It's in perfect health, it's equipped with rending mandibles. It's of tough difficulty based on my current level, and is hostile. And there's another one all the way up there as well. If both of those ended up right on top of me, I'm pretty sure I would definitely be dead, which is not what I want. Salt hoppers can also go into sprint mode and move very quickly to chase you down. So we're going to move cautiously, one little piece at a time, and trying to keep at least some things in our line of sight. What I'm going to do is I'm trying to head up here to where there are some corpses now. That these things have all been fighting one another. I'm going to do that just in the off chance that there's something that I can loot. Dog corpse, a boar corpse. That boar is still hostile and has just moved into melee range, so we will try attacking it. And we will take things nice and slow. The boar is now injured. I'm still on 24 hit points. And a kill. There we go. I'm not sure I got any experience for it because it may have already been hit by something else. A boar corpse, a dog corpse, an irritable tortoise corpse, and a horned chameleon corpse. And hit the P button to open up the skills window. These are all the skills that the character currently has. An axe proficiency, harvestry and skilled harvestry, mines compass, wilderness lore plains, and wilderness lore marshes. Oh, we don't have plains, but we do have marshes. That's a very odd combination. How did I... Oh, that would have been from the calling that we selected of the Watervine farmer. And there are many, many skills going on here. I'm going to need 19 strength to get some of those axe proficiencies, but I suspect short blades may be a little lower. Yes, they are. We may actually end up trying to get short blade proficiency when we level up. But the reason I opened the screen in the first place was to show you butchery. When you get the base butchery skill, you occasionally butcher corpses successfully for food. So if we had a butcher skill as we were moving over some of those creature corpses, they may have been harvested for us. Slowly moving around here, because there are 2 salt hoppers somewhere. And I'm not sure, they may have already been killed by that Aquamax. I cannot overstate how easy it is to die unintentionally through carelessness if you move around the screen too quickly, because if I were to just hold the direction key, I would just zoom across the screen at a great rate of knots, and every tick of movement can result in enemy movement. Salt hopper corpse, yes, that one is dead. Is the other also dead? I'm kind of pleased that these tougher enemies have been taken down, but I'm also kind of frustrated because if you play your cards carefully and you manage to take them down, you do get pretty good experience for them for the early game. Glow Crow and a Salt Hopper. Right, so they are both dead. I don't have to worry about one of them suddenly ambushing me from the other side of the long grass. Everything is just so angry with everything else at the moment. Neutral salamanders. Good, good, good. Okay, so we have clearly reached one of the Red Rock maps now. We've finished the step, travel to Red Rock of the quest, What's Eating the Water Vine, and receive 50 experience points. Yay! We now have 50 of the required 220 to reach level 2. It might be worth pointing out a couple of the stats that are over here on the left of screen. You can see strength, toughness, intelligence, agility, wisdom, and ego all listed there in varying colours. Apologies if you are colourblind. But below all of those are AV, which stands for armour value, and DV, which stands for dodge value. Presently, I have quite a lot of dodge and not an awful lot of armour, which matches fairly well with both my stats and also with some of the gear that I'm wearing. Now, if I get an opportunity to pick up gloves or a helmet or a hat or something, I'm probably going to treat things that have a high armor value with preference, provided they don't penalize my dodge. The reason I'm going to do that is because there are vines that can grow on walls called jilted lovers, and if you get too close to them and they grab you, you pretty much lose all of your dodge bonuses, and if you don't escape from the clutches of the jilted lover, they can do a great deal of damage to you in a short number of turns. It can really be a way of just check that goat's not going to attack us. No. It can really be a way of getting killed early and easily if you accidentally blunder into a wall that has vines growing on it. And that's going to become quite a danger for us in just a moment, because we're about to go into our first cave in Caves of Quud. Let's descend and see what we find. Alright. I can see we have a lit campfire and an unlit campfire and some trash. I don't have scavenging, so I'm not going to rummage around and find anything in the trash. So we're going to start moving around slowly. Just make sure there's no other doors out. No, there aren't. We're going to start moving slowly through this cave / dungeon. And here we have a snapjaw scavenger. Tussocks of fur, dressed skin stretched over taut muscle. Upright it stands, but it looks ready to drop onto fours. Its snout snarls and its ears twitch. It barks, and its hyena tribesmen answer. So these are sort of the equivalent of gnolls that you may have encountered in other fantasy RPGs. It's equipped with cloth overalls, a bite, and a masterwork iron battle axe. Oh boy, that would be nice to have. Perfect health, easy difficulty, and hostile. So again, trying not to get too cocky, let's tap the button, and a one-hit kill. Very nice. We're going to hit G for get. It's carrying some cloth overalls, which we'll pick up, and a masterwork iron battle axe. 4 penetration value, 1d2 plus 1. We'll grab that as well. We're not going to grab the corpse because it will weigh 120 pounds, which is a huge chunk of our carrying capacity. But if we're really short on food, then grabbing a corpse and eating it is a way of not being dead. I believe that the lacquered woven tunic 1 and 2 will be the same stats as the cloth overalls 1 and 2. Yes. 4 penetration 1d3 versus 4 penetration 1d2 plus 1. That's better math. We might also remove that farmer's token. And can we put the Vine Reaper into the other hand? We can indeed. We have a spare fist. And we have a blazing torch. I don't want to chew through the torches 2 at a time. It's not going to give us a light bonus. But if I pick up another weapon, I'm going to chuck it in there just in case we get more attacks. As I said previously, I have played a little bit of this game, but not to the degree that I understand exactly all the ins and outs of how all the rules operate. Can we take down the Snapjaw? Of course we can. Cloth overalls, bronze mace. At this stage, I'm pretty much going to be picking up most of the things that drop because I want to start building a little bit of equipment that I can take and sell to merchants. Let's be confident when we get back to town. Freezing iron mace. And that's got a small trinket in it. So this is an item that has a power cell in it. Although I haven't been able to identify what power cells are in the game yet, so it's just showing up as a small trinket. So I'm going to remove that cell because it counts as a knick-knack. So that's the first part of the quest that Argive gave us. So for the most part, in these very early stages of the game, we're going to be moving around cautiously. We're going to be trying to pick off enemies one at a time. We're going to loot as much as we can, but still not be overburdened. And for this particular quest, we have to get all the way down to level 4 of this cave to find the creatures that complete this part of the quest line. Alright, we're going to go into look mode here because we have a Snapjaw warrior as opposed to the scavengers that we've currently been fighting. Tussocks of fur, dressed skin stretched over taut muscle, upright it stands. Okay, so it's exactly the same descriptor as previously. This one, however, is equipped with a leather apron, bite, and a bronze mace, and is of average difficulty rather than being easy. Now, I'm not sure how easy it is to see what I'm trying to do here when I'm maneuvering, but ideally I'm trying to move around. Yeah, that worked nicely. Trying to move around so that the enemy will move into an adjacent square to me as I move, so that I'm not moving from an adjacent square of its to an adjacent square of its, and it can't take a free hit on me. These warriors are probably going to be a little bit tougher, so I may end up having to use some abilities here to deal with them. They hit me reasonably hard there. Injured. Still on 18. There's a lot of missing going on here. I'm now on 15. Seeing as I've just hit the yellow and I'm getting close to being on half health, I'm going to hit A to open up my abilities, and I'm going to select my freezing hands skill with the spacebar. I'm going to target the Snapjaw warrior, and they are now wounded. I don't like this. So again, I'm going to hit the A button for abilities. I'm going to activate my sprint, And I'm going to take advantage of all of these legs to run away. If you do happen to play this game, I very strongly encourage you to utilize your running away as much as possible. Do not be shy about fleeing. I'm just cycling backwards and forwards a little bit so that I can keep him in sight. And you'll notice that as we're moving and as turns are passing, I am getting hit points back a little bit at a time, which is kind of what I wanted. And because I've got many limbs, I just seem to naturally move faster than most things, which is good for maneuverability and good for survivability. Now, with us moving around and healing a little bit at a time, they will also be healing a little bit at a time, but hopefully not as quickly. They're still injured. That seems good to me. And my freezing hands have come off cooldown, so let's see if we can target them that far away. It seems that we can. And then slowly, slowly again, we're going to try hitting them. You feel your bones fracture. So that's our brittle bones sort of negative physical mutation modifier that we selected. Anything that's sort of hitting with blunt force is going to be hitting us harder than other things do. I'm hoping eventually to be able to mitigate that with better armor. Badly wounded. This is looking more promising. 6 more rounds until freezing hands is off cooldown. And dead. We did it. We solved the game. 25 experience points, a little bit more than usual. The leather apron is 2 and 0 as opposed to the 1 and 2 that we're currently wearing. So we'll grab that, we'll grab the mace, and I'm going to go into my equipment. I currently have 1 armor value and 8 dodge, and we're going to swap this out. And we now have 2 armor value and 6 dodge, which I think I'm going to take as being a fair trade. There shouldn't be anything hostile around us immediately, so on my keyboard I'm going to use Shift W to wait 10 turns at a time, and I'm going to slowly heal hit points. I could just tap a button to rest until healed, but I prefer to have a little bit of sense of time of how many turns it's taken me to heal all the way back up again. Alright, look at this here. We have ourselves a chest. This chest could be full of loot, or it could be full of useless crap. We'll hit the O button and select the direction, and we'll find out. Arrows, star apples, and some bronze weaponry, which we'll be able to sell for money. That's not too bad. Particularly pleased with that food. And we're always going to be keeping an eye on our encumbrance. We're currently carrying 107 pounds of a total of 267. I'm going to move over that chest and I'm going to pick it up so that later on we can drop that into a hut back in Joppa and start putting some gear in it. Another warrior. Freezing hands on them straight away. And then we'll slowly tap. This is looking a little better than last time. Maybe I spoke too soon. Excellent. Let's try again because they're pretty easy. Yes. 25 experience for the warrior and another 10 for that scavenger. And then we'll pick up all the things. Ooh, a worn burnous. We should be able to put that on our backs. And pick up all the weapons. And that should give us another dodge value, and we're back to 2 and 7. That's great. Unkillable by name, and let's try and keep them unkillable by nature. Down the bottom right, you'll see that I auto-got a copper nugget. That's a nice piece of just general trading gear. That's a neutral, thank heavens. So we'll be able to sell that to a merchant, even though I have a -2 modifier with my ego of 12. And I'm not going to get the best prices, but in terms of bang for buck, of how much weight they take up, the copper nuggets and silver nuggets are pretty good mileage. Farewell, Snapjaw. Iron mace, thank you very kindly. So looting things seems to take a full tick in the game world. So that scavenger just moved adjacent to us. We will take them down. And we will take the next one down. We're edging ever closer to reaching that 220 experience points to level up. Let's grab the leather armor and the cap. Just going to grab all the things. Something that's a bit frustrating about this game is when you're looting something, pressing the tab button will take all of the items. Whereas in some other screens, pressing the tab button will bring up options that you can use to inspect or do various things. It's not uncommon for me to accidentally loot everything when I mean to look at something. So I will swear accordingly if and when I get that wrong. We'll pop on the leather cap. What else did we pick up? Leather armor will be the same as the leather apron I'm wearing. What sounds cooler, leather apron or leather armor? I'm going to go with apron. One small trinket. So this will complete the Fetch Argive a Knick-Knack quest. But the very next thing that Argive asks you to do is to get another one. Fetch another Knick-Knack. So I'm going to keep my eyes peeled so that we can get both of those done in one go, rather than bouncing around and having to complete them again later. Many snap jaws, but we haven't seen anything else at this stage. Oh, a nice, that's a nice sword. We should be able to get a bit of good money for that. Alrighty, we might take a break here at this point. And we can return soon for some more of the ironic adventures of Blonq the Unkillable.